Hello, today we're going to be mapping some data, possibly having come from a REST API, which is missing some information we want, so we're going to be filling in that data using a second REST API. Here we have an order that's come in with 2 order rows, obviously it could be many more, and each order has a reference number which we're going to use to look up a second web query, a REST query, and here we have an in-stock value which we want to add to our original mapping. Now we've seen what data we're going to be mapping, we need to actually start by making a new mapping. So new mapping, we're going to add it to our current project, and we're going to make a JSON to JSON mapping. There we go, all the items are filled in. We press OK, and we have a mapping automatically added to our project. We have input data on the left and output data on the right. At the moment, all they contain is just a little PC data, but we want to actually cheat a little bit, and rather than adding elements manually, we're going to estimate from original source information. So we right-click, bring up context menu, and choose Estimate Schema from Data File. And we can even take the URL for the web query and use that for estimating. Pause a little bit while it retrieves it from the internet. And here we have our number and order rows. Now we're going to want to do exactly the same thing on the target side. Which was a little quicker this time. It's actually already downloaded from the internet. And we map everything one for one, just to make a quick little demonstration. And we mustn't forget to do the loop as well, otherwise we'll end up with one order row. We can run the mapping, and we will see that we get the same data in and out. Simple mistake, we actually forgot to run the mapping with an input file. So we click on the project, and we can click Project Item Properties, and then we pick a downloaded copy of the input data. And we look at target data, we see the same data that out as came in. We've mapped through the whole thing. In itself, this is a waste of time because obviously you wouldn't do this. But now we're going to start enhancing that information. So we're going to add a curl query to our mapping. So we right-click on order rows, and we see at the bottom we have add curl and get. So we're going to make a get query. See, it's added there. We have multiple subparameters, but the main one we're interested in right now is the query. So we add the URL. Here's one we have earlier on, which we can see in the browser soon. There we go. Yep. So there we have our URL. We press save, and that will actually go through every time we loop. That will go through and do a query. Next, we map the ref PC data to our query. So now our query string is built up, ready to access the web page we looked at earlier on. So now the query is ready to run, but we need to run before we're actually going to change our ref PC data under our order row because we're actually not interested in that in our output file. We want to know the stock condition. So we click on ref and we rename it to stock. This is obviously a very simple example. You may want to add in more items. So we want to drag our get to be above the stock. So let's put it just under order row. So it's one of the first things we do as part of our loop. Now, the next thing we need to do is have somewhere for a reply to go to. So we're actually going to add a second tree on our source side. So we right-click on source doc, add data tree, and we're going to say new tree or namespace. So we're going to call this namespace reply, and it's going to be a JSON, and just press new schema to give it somewhere to live. We're finished with this particular part. Just like before, we could add elements and PC data ourselves, but instead we're actually going to estimate the structure from a JSON file, or in this case, a reply from a web query. We can even just quickly copy and paste it. So if we expand that out, we see we have the reference query and now our in stock. So we need to put our reply map. If we drag reply on the right to the reply root element on the left, this will actually take the reply from a curl query and parse it into our reply root element structure. So assuming that has worked, we're into now reply root element project in stock PC data will hold the value we actually want to map to stock on our target side. We will run our mapping and see what the target data looks like. And here we have, instead of saying ref, we now have stock and the value that has come from our temporary REST query. That's it. Thank you very much for your attention, and we look forward to seeing you for another Inobiz video.